Welcome to our new Osceola studio, and welcome to the Osceola's 2022 preseason position previews. I'm the Osceola's editor, Bob Ferranti. I'm here with our publisher, Jerry Cutts.
Welcome. It's exciting to do these previews, and particularly to share with our Osceola recruiting analysts. Today we have Kirk Carruthers, who's going to work with us on talk to us about linebacker play. Kirk, it's good to have you.
Appreciate it, Jerry. Bob, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Kirk, you had a heck of a career at Florida State. I want to talk a little bit about that with you.
Sure.
I was there to watch it, and the thing that stood out to me when I was looking at your bio was the fact that you had so many games, big games. I mean, not little games, but big games where you had 10 or more tackles. I was looking down the list, and Michigan, LSU, Florida, Miami. In the big games, you delivered. I think 14 big games in which you had 10 or more tackles.
Wow, geez, I didn't even remember that myself, Jerry, but I appreciate you reminding me. But, I always remember, Coach Andrews, Coach Burnham, Coach Gladden always saying, big time players play big in big time games. I know it's kind of a cliche and we hear it a lot now, but it's true. You see the same, great players playing big in those big games. And if you don't come to play in those games, then you shouldn't be out there. That's why we play the sport, to be in front of the big crowds, to be in front of national TV, and just to have a great day and have a lot of fun.
All right. Well, Kirk, Florida State's got a new linebackers coach, and you're familiar with Randy Shannon because he played at Miami, overlapped with you for 1 year in 1988. How good was Randy Shannon as a linebacker? Let's put you on the spot here.
Well, I don't like talking very kindly about Hurricanes or Gators, but now that Randy's a Seminole, I'll give him a little bit of slack. Now, Randy was, obviously a great player, a very smart football player. Obviously, that's carried on to him being a coach and be able to transition and be able to share that wisdom, with the younger players. But great athlete, great football player, and definitely had a lot of respect for him on the field.
I want to get into a little bit of football 101 for us and some of our people are watching here. And Florida State will use a lot of two linebacker sets because of the nickel. A lot of offenses going spread. But I think it might be educational for us to establish responsibilities for weak side, strong side, middle linebackers when Florida State is in that 4-3 front. Can you kind of give us maybe some bullet points over what their responsibilities are?
Absolutely. Well, of course, the Mike linebacker is your middle linebacker. He is usually your biggest, baddest, meanest, and best tackling linebacker out of the group. You want him in the middle there to be able to stuff and clog those runs. And usually he's obviously kind of the quarterback making calls. And like I said, just being able to play that run. Obviously has some pass responsibility as well. But first and foremost, he is our tackler. Now, with the Will, which was my position, which I loved due to the fact that the Mike and the Sam would obviously be over a tight end, and the Mike being responsible for a lot of the upfront blocking schemes. It kind of freed me up to be able to make some more plays and kind of be able to freelance a little bit more. So that fit into my style very well. Of course, I did have quite a bit of pass coverage responsibility due to the fact that I was a little bit lighter, a little bit faster, and I kind of pride myself on that pass coverage ability as well. A lot of blitzing from the Will linebacker. So of course I loved that. I loved blitzing and kind of jumping up in that line of scrimmage and be able to throw those linemen off and occasionally get lucky and get a quarterback sack. The Sam linebacker is always to the strong side, hence the name Sam, and is over the tight end. So he's got quite a bit of run responsibility. Of course, he's going to have that tight end coming out on him quite often. And then he will be covering that tight end quite often as well. So that's kind of the basis and the difference between those three spots. Sam and Mike doing a little bit more tackling, being a little bit more responsible for some of that upfront blocking coming off the front offense line. and the will being able to be a little bit more freelance and be able to kind of make some plays and kind of be able to, cover side to side.
We'll be back in 30 seconds. Take a look at Florida State's linebackers, projected two deep going into camp.
Alumni Hall, where you'll find officially licensed FSU gear for the entire family, including brands like Nike and Champion, plus great gifts for your favorite Seminole and home decor too. Miss some of the old Seminole throwback logos? Check out our College Vault collection. Shop online at alumnihall.com and let our great customer sales team ship to you within days. Or pick up in store in Tallahassee. You'll find us in the Miracle Plaza Shopping Center on Thomasville Road. Students and military get 10% off in store, and Osceola subscribers get 20% off in store and online with their digital membership cards. Alumni Hall.
We're back with Kirk Carruthers, and we'll take a look at that two deep depth chart for the linebackers. And there's a lot of optimism with this group now. The development of Kalen, DeLoach, Tatum Bethune coming in from UCF out of the transfer portal. DJ Lundy is developing. He's shed a little bit of weight. Amari Gaynor. All these guys getting a chance to work with Randy Shannon in the offseason in the spring. Kirk, how have you kind of seen this group develop and improve here?
Yeah, like you said, Bob, I think everybody's improved. I think obviously bringing in Randy was huge. I think that's just going to have an immediate impact, and it already has, according to what we've seen in the spring. With DeLoach, obviously coming off a great spring, he got, I believe, most improved for the defense, and so a highly touted kid. He's had some years here in the program now. I think now with Randy as his coach, I think we're going to see some exciting things out of this young man. 6'1", 211, he's fast, he's athletic. And I think, he's going to fit perfectly into this new scheme that Fuller's got going. So excited to see what he's going to bring to the table.
Kirk, you were about 6'1", 211, weren't you?
I was going to say, yeah, it reminds me a lot of my size. I might even be a little bit lighter, Jerry, but yes, exactly. So when I saw DeLoach's height and weight, I was excited to see another smaller linebacker in there doing his thing.
What do you like about this scheme and now the opportunities too here for these guys? It's year 3 under Coach Norvell, the same defensive coordinator, Adam Fuller. There's some comfort in what you're going to be doing, even with a new position coach like Randy Shannon. But your understanding of what's expected of you as a linebacker now.
Definitely. And, we can touch on some of the other guys too during this conversation, but yeah, Bob, I think we're all excited to have, this defense scheme. I think with Fuller's brought in, having Randy here, Florida State is known for exciting big play defense. And we just haven't had that, in the past few years. And it's been disappointing. It's obviously affected the team's success. I mean, you can't be a defense that isn't intimidating. I mean, we play with reckless abandon. I remember Mickey Andrews, play with reckless abandon. Don't be afraid to make big plays. Have a party at the quarterback and let's all meet there. I mean, this is things, that synergy, and that's what happens. Attitude is contagious. It can either be contagious in a bad way or in a great way. And I think for the past few years, it hasn't been that great. But I think once these guys start to make big plays, and they can't be afraid to make big plays. And Mickey and Coach Burnham and Coach Gladden used to say, come on, who's going to make the next big play? Let's do it. Don't be afraid to make a big play. And these guys have to get that mentality to go out there and be the star, be the man. And you know what? That's going to raise everybody's ability, everybody's attitude. And then once again, it gets contagious. And before you know it, we've got one of those aggressive, mean, nasty defenses. And, Coach Gladden, I refer to him a lot with some of his sayings, but, kill a fly with an axe. And that's the mentality that we have to have. And we just haven't had it. So I think Fuller and, of course, Randy with these young men, I think that's where we're going. And having this aggressive schemes like the 4-2-5 and the 4-3, both great run and pass defenses. So I think fundamentally we're sound. We're going to put the guys in the right position, the right places to make, big plays. And I think that's, key. We haven't been doing that. And so I'm excited. I know Seminole Nation's excited. I know you guys are excited, but we need to return Seminole defense back to the era of being the intimidators and not being intimidated. So I'm looking forward to it. We talked about some of the talent that we have, and we do have, some really talented, high prospect linebackers in the core. This Bethune Tatum I'm extremely excited to see what he's going to bring. This kid was a stud at UCF. A good size. He's got great instincts, and was a player at UCF. I think he's going to be our starter at I believe Mike. If that's right, Jerry.
Yes.
And so having him bring in, so I think some energy, some fresh talent. I think that's always good. And raise the expectations of the other guys and make it competitive. Amari Gaynor, of course, Herb's son, great pedigree, great talent, a big kid, 6'3", 235. He is our, current all-time leading tackler right now for as far as our current roster is concerned. So, he's made some tackles. I'd like to see him get a little bit more aggressive and, be tackling at the line instead of downfield. So hopefully he'll, can improve on that this season. And I know Randy's got him in the right position to make some of these plays at the line of scrimmage instead of downfield. I'll tell you, this true freshman, Omar Graham, good size again. He was a huge playmaker in high school. I hope that he can make that transition. We kind of talked about a little bit earlier, guys, about sometimes these high school guys can't make the transition to college, or they just are a little timid, or just mentally they just aren't ready to make that step. I think this kid's going to be a player, and I'm excited what he's going to bring. So he had a great spring too. So hopefully these kids are going to be ready to play in the fall. I'm looking forward to this defense. I'm looking forward to some wins. I'm looking forward to a bowl game.
That's an encouraging, optimistic view. Thank you for that.
Absolutely.
I'll take that right now.
Darn right, Jerry. It's time, isn't it?
Yeah. Hey, I wanted to ask you about Omar Graham a little bit. Kirk, we'll get
Sure.
back to some of the other guys, but you came in as a true freshman and played really early. I mean, the third game your freshman year, we played Michigan State, and of course you're from East Lansing, and your dad was the offensive line coach up there at Michigan State. And I want you to tell us a little bit about your dad's relationship with Michigan State. But in the third game of your college career, you had 8 tackles against Michigan State. Andre Rison, I think, was on the field that day.
That's right. Old Moon, Andre Moon's the Rison. Yeah, Jerry, one of my favorite games, obviously due to the fact that my hometown team was coming to Tallahassee. And, for my first game that I got to play as a true freshman, super special. Coach Bowden made me honorary captain. Of course, Coach Bowden does those kind of great things. So right off the bat, the game had so much importance to me, so much emotion, but then to be captain, to be able to play against my hometown team. And of course, they were recruiting me, and being the hometown kid, everyone kind of thought I was going there. So when I made the choice to come to Tallahassee and be a Seminole, which was the best decision of my life, I knew for that game that I better play one darn good game, or I was going to be in trouble. So it was special. And like I said, it was just the perfect game for me to have my first action in. And thank goodness we won, and I had a few good tackles. So it worked out pretty darn good.
So, your dad being a coach, and he coached with Duffy Dory and also with George Perlis. They were friends, weren't they?
Yep, that's correct. As a matter of fact, my dad, played and coached at Michigan State. He as a player, he won a national championship, and then transitioned on to be the offensive line coach under Duffy Doherty. And then George Perlis was there as well as an assistant coach at that time. My dad and George grew up together in Detroit, went to the same high school, best friends, were in each other's weddings. And so, of course, he was the head coach at the time when I was being recruited. So that one wasn't easy to get away from. But, I didn't have the courage to tell my dad I wasn't going to be a Spartan at the time. I did tell my mom. And so we kind of held that information back for a while until, everything kind of calmed down and everything was official. I didn't want him trying to talk me out of it. So once again, it was the best decision of my life. But yeah, I had a lot of history and a lot of roots at Michigan State. But I wish them nothing but the best. They're my second favorite college team. But I'm sure glad I was a Seminole.
I remember, Kirk, you were a tight end, weren't you, coming out of high school? You were recruited as a tight end, as I remember, but not by Florida State.
That's correct, Jerry. As a matter of fact, I was an All-American tight end in high school, and I was just an All-State linebacker. And Miami really recruited me to be a tight end there. So, and Florida State kind of at the beginning, they were kind of considering me possibly tight end or linebacker, and they weren't really sure at first. But I knew once I got here that I wanted to be a defensive football player under Mickey and Coach Byrne and with Coach Gladden. And so I definitely saw my future as an inside linebacker, and things worked out pretty well. I'm very, very happy with my career here.
Yeah, one last question about that, and I hate to go back this far, but what made you decide to go to Florida State over Michigan State?
Absolutely. It's funny. I was a recruit for Michigan State just on a Saturday, as just for the game, and they just had me playing a school called Florida State, and they really weren't on my radar at the time. But boy, when I saw them play that day, everybody looked incredible in those uniforms. They played a whole different style of football than I was used to growing up in Michigan in the Midwest, and just really, being surrounded by Big Ten football, kind of, 3 runs up the middle in a cloud of dust and punt. And then I'm seeing, Bobby pull out double reverses and pretty much, 40-yard passes on second down like it was no big deal. And so that really caught my eye. I loved the defensive scheme that they were playing, just fast, aggressive. And, I knew that day once I saw the Seminoles that I definitely wanted to be a part of that team.
So in that game that you're referring to, our fans will remember it. That was the game that Dion said called Andre Rison just another Big Ten receiver on Tuesday ahead of that game. I got up there on Thursday, Kirk, and people were hot. Everybody in the Big Ten was pissed off.
Yeah. I love it. Leave it up to prime time. Darn right.
All right. So let's get back to some football players. Bethune, when he was at UCF, he plays against Florida in the bowl game, Tatum Bethune, and he has 15 tackles in that game. So I think this is a guy that has done it at UCF, but he's also done it against some SEC teams. So the chance of him helping us is big. Kirk, when I look at DJ Lundy and Stephen Dix, both are big guys.
Mm-hmm.
DJ, he took some weight off between last year and the spring. This is a kid that was a 4-time state wrestling champion in Georgia, heavyweight. Very strong kid, downhill guy. Reminds me a little bit of like the way you guys played Ken Alexander.
I was going to say the same thing, Jerry. Kind of reminds me of a Ken Alexander. Perfect Mike linebacker, that big studly kid, like you said, a 4-time state champ, wrestling champ. That's the kind of guy you want in the middle, filling those holes. I think he's a stud. There's no doubt about it. I'm glad he lost a little bit of weight. I think that's going to help him for sure. Just with this scheme and the way football is nowadays, you have to be fast and you have to be athletic. And Randy knows this. And so I think Randy's, grooming these young men in that same style and be able to, succeed. And that's what he wants these young men to do. And that's what he wants his defense to do. And I think DJ Lundy he'll be a player again this year. And I think we'll get big things out of him for sure.
We'll wrap up our look at the linebackers with Kirk Carruthers after this 30-second break.
Hey Seminole fans, tickets to Florida State football games are now on sale. Right now, you can pick up single game tickets, 3-game packs, and season tickets for the 2022 season. Home games include Florida, Clemson, Georgia Tech, Wake Forest, Boston College, Louisiana, and Duquesne. Have fun this football season with your friends and family, all the while knowing your ticket purchase is funding FSU's success. Call your ticket rep today at 850-644-1830 or visit Seminoles.com. That's Seminoles.com.
We're back with Kirk Carruthers. Kirk, earlier I asked you about Omar Graham, the true freshman who we think has some potential. He entered in January, and he got to go through mat drills in spring, and now he's with his buddies here this summer working. If you could sit down and talk to him, having been through it as a freshman who played a lot your freshman year, what are some of the things that you would tell him that might help him get the game to slow down a little for him?
Absolutely. I think the first thing is to just embrace this opportunity, take advantage of this opportunity. He's young, he's fresh, he's going to be hungry. I know he's going to have a fire in his belly. So I just say work all off of all those emotions and don't overthink. I want him to react. I don't want him to be thinking. I want him to study, and that's going to be key. Obviously, I mean this kid, like you said, has had the advantage of going through a spring, so he's got some reps under his belt, which is huge. So I hope that he's going to be comfortable enough with with the schemes and the defense where he's going to be able to do reactive play instead of thinking and then reacting. So I would say just enjoy the moment, embrace it. Don't be scared to make a big play. Just because you're a freshman doesn't mean you can't be a leader, and doesn't mean that you can't make big plays. Be a part of that group that leads, makes big plays, and start to carry these guys. I'm excited for him. Like you said, Jerry, I was blessed to be able to play as a true freshman. I think he's going to do great things. And I just hope that he embraces it and just has a lot of fun.
It's been great having you on, Kirk. We look forward to seeing you more in the future.
I appreciate it, Jerry. It was great to be with you as well. I've always enjoyed you. You know that. We had a lot of fun back in the day. Bob, I enjoyed you as well. Thank you guys for having me on.
All right, please like and subscribe to our videos on the Osceola's YouTube channel to get more analysis from Kirk Carruthers, Charlie Ward, Kes McCorvey, Mark Salva, Leroy Smith, and all more of our football analysts. Thank you for watching. See you soon.